I was watching the Knicks offense from game one and really just like their offense in the playoffs in general and looking at all of Philly's counters. And to me, that's like the one side of the ball chess match where it's New York has this unique brand of offense and Philly tried like 50 different things in game one and they could not get stops. And my head immediately goes to, they opened this game running the Cat-centric offense, right? Like Cat gets the ball up top or on the wing and they're going to start getting to some off-ball stuff. And one thing that really stands out to me is how much they use Jalen Brunson as a screener. Like he's setting an off-ball screen damn near every possession. And it's usually like a back screen for a cutter and Cat is lifting him.
They love that like shuffle action, the back screen into a pin down to get it back to Brunson.
Yep, that's kind of their staple. And New York has all these big athletic wings who can cut. Like OG on a cut or McHale on a cut or even Josh Hart on a cut that you don't want to let any of them get open. And Cat's lifting Embiid to the top of the key because he's such a dominant shooter. And there was one possession where it was early in the game. Embiid drops back just one step to play the pass and Cat just drills a three in his face, like just automatic. And then there was a play where Embiid pressed up to try and like clog his space on a pass and Cat just blows by him and draws a foul. And it's like, this is the unique challenge that Cat poses where it's, I'm such a good shooter. I'm so quick off the dribble, like such a big downhill driving threat. And then I have the touch to finish in a variety of ways. So like I pose this weird scoring challenge, but then also I'm a good enough passer. He's not an elite passer, not an elite processor, but a good enough passer that like if the cutter gets open on this action or if two go to the cutter and the shooter frees up in the corner, there was one play where that happened with Josh Hart. He gets a wide open corner three. Cat's quick to recognize that and get the ball where it needs to go. So that's a big portion of their offense to open these games where it's free up the paint. We get some open cuts. We get some open stuff for Cat. We get some open corner threes. As soon as Cat checks out and Mitchell Robinson comes in, it is Brunson ball. It is flat out just like 1-5 pick and roll spam. And Philly could not guard it at all. So at first they go with a deep drop. Embiid's in this deep drop, and now Brunson's walking into pull-up jumpers, right? Or he's rejecting the screen and getting downhill that way. Brunson just walking into pull-up jumpers. There was one play where Embiid finally like jabs out at the ball when Brunson turns the corner, and then Brunson lobs it up to Mitchell Robinson. They get an easy dunk. Then Embiid goes to like more of a higher drop. He's starting to pick up the ball in space, but it's clear that he can't really just keep up. Like he can't move well enough to keep up with someone who's as herky-jerky, as balanced as Brunson as a driver. And then of course the fact that he can like spray it out to corner shooters or whatever. So there's this weird Jalen Brunson variable. They also tried icing some ball screens. They tried dropping with an aggressive stunt at the nail. None of it worked. Like it's just the fact that Embiid does not have the foot speed to keep up with Brunson in these pick and roll actions. And Brunson is so ridiculously good. He's just such a good offensive player. He picks everything apart. But it goes further than just Brunson, right? The thing about New York's offense is that they're so layered with so many skilled players. And they know how to manipulate floor spacing. So there was one play actually where it felt like, I want to say Paul George, no, it was VJ Edgecombe was on Josh Hart. And they wanted to have Embiid drop back against the pick and roll. And VJ Edgecombe was going to come with like a super aggressive tag to try and blow up the roll. And they very, very deliberately time up the movement of Josh Hart where he starts in the dunker. And as soon as the pick and roll happens, he just bolts to the corner. And VJ Edgecombe follows him. And then he's pulled out of the play. And now it's a 2-on-1 against Embiid. So manipulating the spacing, but then also using all these other guys as ball handlers. Like they were running a lot of spread pick and roll for OG and Anunoby. They were running spread pick and roll for Mikal Bridges. And both of those guys can get downhill, get to the mid-range, get to the rim, make a decent amount of passes, handle the ball and not turn it over. And Philly just tried so many different matchups. But I want to highlight a specific play from 5 minutes left in the second quarter that I think really just encapsulates New York's offensive versatility.
Is this the pass from Mikal to the top to Cat? Or to OG?
It's not. That is another great play if you want to bring that up. But the one I'm talking about is the ball starts with Josh Hart in the corner. And you can do that because Josh Hart is a threat to drive or pass. He can handle the ball in certain actions. Brunson sets a back screen for Cat off the ball to go set a ball screen for Josh Hart. And Josh Hart has the ability to turn the corner and get downhill. But VJ Edgecombe does a great job of ducking under Cat's screen and cutting off Josh Hart's angle. And then Josh Hart kicks it to OG in the weak side corner and they're able to recover. Like Philly's able to recover. But then OG immediately just off the catch, quick little rip through drive baseline, beats his man. And then because Embiid was pulled onto Cat in the slot, he's late getting over and OG gets a dunk. And it's like, how many layers were there to this possession? Hart was the ball handler in a ball screen action, while Brunson was an off-ball screener, while Cat was a ball screener, while OG was attacking a closeout, and then Cat was a spacer to pull the rim protection out. And it's like, this is a layered offense that is really tough to stop when they're getting to their sets and when they're getting to, like, they're playing freely and everyone's getting their touches and everyone's confident and enabled to do what they do best. Granted, the Knicks shot 51% from three, so take the offensive results with a grain of salt, but they were getting every shot they wanted. They weren't turning the ball over. They ended up with like a 150 offensive rating or something absolutely obnoxious in this game. Yeah, they got to their offense. And I also think a lot of that too was Josh Hart grab and go game, like getting out in transition, speeding up the pace. Philly had no answer for that at all. Yeah, I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do. Like they tried every pick and roll coverage and just got picked apart. They tried switching the matchups like 4 different times and got picked apart.
First of all, they're just operating at a ridiculous level right now where they on 42 pick and roll ball handler possessions in game 1 scored at a 1.5 points per possession rate, which is just absurd. Brunson on like 13 of those possessions operated at 1.6 points per possession rate, but you're still able to get like 3 or 4 of those possessions to Josh Hart, like 4 or 5 of those possessions to OG, McHale even starting to play with a lot of confidence again offensively after a really rough start to the playoffs against Atlanta. But even then, McHale's been pretty good to like borderline elite as a point of attack screen navigator guy for New York defensively for the most part all playoffs long. Is New York gonna have a half-court offensive rating of 140 every single night? No, they're not. And really, again, I go back to it feels like New York has all the answers to the test, because if you want to ice it, that's easy trigger for them. Okay, cool, we're just gonna get the ball to Cat, we're gonna send the 45 on the opposite side, and Cat's gonna, either knock down this pick and pop 3, or they're gonna go right back to the 2-man game with him and Brunson and kind of just set it back all up if they want to. OG has just been ridiculously good with all his touches. He's been pretty low volume, but he just doesn't miss. He's been so efficient attacking mismatches on drives when you're playing against a tilted defense, because Brunson and Cat are going to create so much attention for you, or Josh Hart and McHale are pushing in transition. I mean, hell, even, Mitchell Robinson, offense rebound, kick out stuff, and OG's always had just impeccable timing as a cutter as well. McHale as an off-screen guy or a relocate guy on offense rebound, kick outs are Brunson driving kicks and things like that. I think the Knicks just feel like right now they're operating at a level offensively that makes them feel like the best team in the East right now, at least, because we talk about inevitability from a creator standpoint. The Knicks offense kind of feels inevitable right now, at least, where, maybe OKC, I think it posed some troubles for them. Obviously, they're the Thunder, but the shot making with Brunson, you still have the Brunson ball as a reliable 4-quarter option. Yeah, sure, Atlanta stole 2 games from New York, but to an extent, like, how many times are we going to see New York kind of, specifically with Brunson and the way they're operating right now, how many times are we going to see New York just give you 2 games in the clutch where Brunson's uncharacteristically bad in the clutch in back-to-back games? So we have the reliability of Brunson ball down the stretch. We have the reliability for a third of the game. We're going to play through Cat. We're going to get some cheap backdoor stuff. They love this zero cut where they're going to fake the handoff and Brunson is just going to go all the way over the top while they fill up that corner guy. So now if you want to tag the cut on Brunson or tag the cut on OG, we're just going to fill up our other 38% three-point shooter and we're just going to swing it to them. They're going to be wide open. Yeah, New York's offense is operating at a ridiculous level right now. And the Knicks defense, I think, does deserve a little bit more credit for how they played throughout these playoffs as well.
They deserve credit start to finish this season. I want to say, were they a top 5 regular season defense? I know they were close. Regular season defensive rating, they were way up there. And that was a big reason why they won 53 games.
Playoff defensive rating, the Knicks are 2nd. Regular season defensive rating, the Knicks are 7th. They're 0.2 points off from being the 5th best defense of the regular season.
Okay. So, yeah, they were in that mix throughout the season. And one of my big kind of takeaways was like, how real is this defense, right? Because we saw it with Indiana last year, where it was when you put Brunson and Cat in action, you can there's like a trickle down effect where the defense kind of cascades into a bunch of rotations and all that good stuff. And you start to get corner threes and dunks against them. But I really felt like in that Atlanta series, we talked about this, and it was, if you can't stress them, like if you can't stretch out both Brunson and Cat and put them into these 2-man actions, you can't really poke at them much. But then we saw in game 1 against Philly where Philly did that. They were spamming double drag like Indiana did. They were spamming all these different 3-man actions. They went to some creative variations of Spain pick and roll and stuff. And it was involving Brunson and Cat, and New York's defense looked really, really good. And Cat has clearly leveled up as a drop defender.